So, after making my hammer shot video, all of my fans informed me that the hammer shot is not actually spun by the Guardians in Destiny, but a blaster called the Last Word is. So, I've decided to take a bunch of 3D printed pieces that I made and try my hand at making my very own Last Word. I'm going to be using a Rebel Secrets and Spies 4-Vic as the base blaster, which, while it's girly now, should look really, really bad by the time this is done. I can't wait. So upon flipping this blaster over, you can see kind of where it's wide, why it's wide there, and then how it works. So it's an isolated system that doesn't really want to come out, but we'll move this bracket. Then this trigger comes out. The trigger has a specific torsion spring that operates it, and then down here we have the bumper system and the hammer, which moves this plunger in and out. So we're going to focus on the internals later, but for now we need to carve down this front end. So we'll probably remove this pink portion, shave off 2 of these barrels, turn it into a Derringer style pistol, then lock them down so that they never let any air out to remove any potential dead space, and we'll narrow the front end significantly so that we can fit darts through, because it looks like, as I line up my 3D printed parts, that is about all we have room for. So these side barrels are going to have to go. We will be reducing the ammo capacity by half, but it should be worth it for the cosmetic modifications that we're installing. Wow, can you say rough? But I have narrowed down the profile by removing 2 of these barrels such that it will now fit into here. It looks really, really good. And then I did this and kind of coined this way back in the day when I did my Alucard's Castle mod, but I've taken the trigger and just removed the entire back end, but left this triangle for structural integrity, so it'll still do everything that I need it to, but look more like a gun trigger, so to speak, which is perfect for this mod. I'm just going to keep kind of cranking away at figuring out how to integrate these into the shell itself, and I'll show you the next step when there's something kind of significant. So the 3D printed pieces needed a solid base to print on, even though I really need them to be hollow so that Nerf darts can travel through them. So thinking to myself kind of out loud, I have this soldering gun that I've had since I was very young, and I use it primarily for melting Nerf shells, but I was like, if it can be created with hot plastic injected, then surely it can be just as easily destroyed with a soldering gun. And sure enough, it is very easy to cut through the very thin 3D printed plastic with a soldering gun just by kind of moving it through, like quite literally like a hot knife through butter, and it's getting exactly the results that I need, while still leaving me plenty of lip on the outside to manage attaching not only the pieces together, but also integrating them into the blaster. So as I come back through here, we're going to slow down just a little bit, and bingo. I wish you guys could smell this. It smells very strange to me, and boom. So that is excellent. Come in and touch that up just a little bit. Awesome. Now, over here, you can see that I've made a mark where I intend to carve this off, attach this, and that'll leave plenty of room for these barrels to come in and through. So I'm going to go make this cut right now with a Dremel using a rotary cutting bit, and that should be very nice by the time I'm done with it and ready for an epoxy integration. So after carving up the pink shroud and ditching the parts we didn't need, we can come in and see that the integration is actually looking like it's going to work. We're going to have to bridge some of this with putty, but once we bridge this, smooth this out, and add on the front barrel piece here, it looks like this will work, and I think that we're going to have a pretty good straight shot all the way through to these 2 barrels. So it might even be functional, which was ultimately the goal, but now I truly believe that it can work. So at this point we've gotten a lot of test fitting done for parts. You can see that I taped this off in a rather unorthodox manner, but we can go ahead, take it out, start kind of getting a real feel for how this blaster is going to look when it's put together. So definitely going to want to re-grease this, but this will go into the blaster. These parts will come together like so, and then there we are. Eventually this is going to tuck onto the front end, and we have just a really wicked looking hand cannon. Lots of cosmetic work still to go. Went ahead and measured this. This is a Raven's front barrel attachment. Measurement from here, and then this is how far it'll kind of cut into this after these get seated. So the better way to do this is actually to line this up and then come in through the front of the Last Word 3D printed part. And I guess there isn't an easy way to do this with the video goggles on, but in theory it will line up. We're going to make this cut here, and then we're going to overlay these parts here, and yikes, it's a real nightmare prototyping on camera. So here, and this still needs a lot of body work to be done, but you can kind of get a feel for how the project is coming together, and this is honestly more or less how I work and how I prototype things as I go along. So I'll show you kind of what it looks like more put together, and then we'll start doing some detailing. Hey guys, so this should be the final segment of the Last Word. I've already gone ahead and chambered 2 darts in it, as you do need to ramrod them into place. It is still a completely functional 4-Vic, but it has been modified so that it only has these 2 shots. As I've mentioned in the past, the orange barrel here is removable, which is excellent. It can be both a prop and a replica, which is just awesome. The Draculina did just an incredible job on this paint job. All of the details are reasonably accurate to the game model. It says Tex Mechanica. We're rocking gold enamel, so it's just got a fantastic metallic finish. It spins just like the one in the game, which I think is really, really cool. And while you can fan it, I wouldn't recommend it, as it doesn't have a necessarily perfect fanning style hammer, but priming is simple, and then firing, getting reasonable shots out of it. That's both the shots, which is all it's got, but I'm just very, very pleased with this replica. I think it looks incredible, and as I've mentioned before, I am doing a panel at this year's MomoCon convention in Atlanta. It is all about Nerf guns and how they apply to costuming and replicas, and really just kind of trying to share that with the audience at large. Most people who go to conventions don't necessarily know about Nerf modding, and the goal of my panel that I've been asked to do is to share Nerf modding with congoers so we can kind of get out there and shout it loud and proud. So that's going to be at Thursday for this, not this week, but Thursday next week in, I want to say, roughly 5 o'clock, and I'll put details to that panel in the description box below. But if you're going to MomoCon or in the area, definitely come check out Nerf as it pertains to costuming and replicas, because it should be a really, really cool panel. As always, guys, thanks for watching. That's been the Last Word. It's a Destiny replica. It's based on a 4 victory, and it's just killer. It couldn't be any cooler than it is.